As the nation of Israel continues to fight for its survival and their ancestral homeland against formidable threats like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, the United States is now accusing Israel of threatening peace in the Middle East. What did Israel do to deserve this accusation? Well, they legalized the right of Israelis to build new houses in Judea and Samaria. I'm Josiah, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome to the show here. Before we get into why Israel is threatening peace in the Middle East, I wanted to show you this epic video. This is from Gaza. The commander of the 52nd Armored Brigade, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Ella, was injured just the other day during a firefight with Hamas terrorists in Rafah. And as he's being medically evacuated in the helicopter, he asked for the radio. And he says to his soldiers, he says, "All stations, this is your commander. Keep on fighting. Kick their butts. I'm on the way to the hospital and will return to you." This guy is wounded, going to the hospital, medically evacuated. He's encouraging his soldiers. Not only that, he says, "I'm going to the hospital, but I'll be back. I'm coming back to help you kick the Hamas terrorists out of Gaza." That is the fighting spirit of Israel, and that is why Israel will win this war in Gaza against the evil, evil terrorists that have reared their heads inside the Gaza Strip. All right, what is happening with Israel and the U.S. administration now accusing Israel of threatening peace in the Middle East? Basically, it just said that Israel is threatening peace and stability in the region. Now, what exactly did Israel do? This actually took place a week ago, Thursday, but it didn't really receive much coverage in the news. And I wanted to mention it on today's show because this is actually a very good move for Israel and a big win here in Judea and Samaria. So the government of Israel recognized 5 Jewish new towns in Judea and Samaria. And this is from the Jerusalem Post. Security cabinet decision included the transformation of 5 outposts in new settlements, 1 settlement for each of the 5 European countries that unilaterally recognized Palestinian statehood in the last few months. So basically, there have been 5 countries in the last several weeks and months that have recognized a Palestinian state. That said, we recognize the Palestinian state, that being the Palestinian state saying that the West Bank is a Palestinian state, which is completely preposterous and not at all represents or reflects the facts on the grounds here in Judea and Samaria, falsely what they would call the West Bank. But 5 countries, Spain, Norway, Ireland, Slovenia, and Armenia, all recognized the Palestinian state recently. So Israel's response to this just a week ago responded with legalizing 5 Jewish towns in the place that these countries claim there is a Palestinian state inside of Judea and Samaria. And when I say 5 Jewish towns, I'm not talking about like brand new, they just threw up some houses and Israel's now saying that these are going to be, we're going to start new communities here. Now, that would be great. These towns have been in place for quite a while, and we're going to talk about more about one of those towns in just a little bit and the really amazing facts on the grounds about the start of that town. But first, I just want to talk a little bit more about like what happened here and why Israel is now legalizing these towns. The Security Council agreed to move on the issue of settlement expansion as part of the deal by which Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich would release 3 months of tax fees he had withheld from the Palestinian Authority. He also agreed to extend by 4 months an arrangement that allows for Palestinian banks to operate. The United States and European countries had pressed Smotrich to take these steps. So European countries in the United States have been pressuring Smotrich to release the tax funds that he's been withholding from the Palestinian Authority because, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but Israel collects the taxes for the Palestinian authorities because they're incapable of doing it themselves. Israel collects it and then gives it to the Palestinian Authority. Israel's finance minister, who is operating well within his realm of responsibility, has been withholding those taxes for, I'm not exactly sure how long now, but withholding some of those funds from the Palestinian Authority because the Palestinian Authority uses those funds to pay terrorists to murder Jews. So the finance minister is saying, hey, I'm not going to give these funds to the Palestinian Authority. I'm going to withhold them because they're paying terrorists to murder Jews, right? Simple, makes sense. So that's what's been happening. But the United States and the European Union have been pressuring Bezalel Smotrich to release those funds to the Palestinian Authority, and also to there's been a rule that not allowing Israeli banks to cooperate with Palestinian banks, I think since the war, maybe a little bit later, but basically disrupting finances there because of all these crazy things that have been happening in Israel, Gaza, Hezbollah, here in Judea and Samaria as well. But on top of that, so they legalized 5 new settlements last week, and just this week they legalized another 3 more Jewish towns in Judea and Samaria. So big wins here, and basically Smotrich is being very smart here. He's saying, okay, we'll release 4 months of these funds to the Palestinian Authority, and we're going to legalize these communities in Judea and Samaria in return for that, and kind of in the face of those 5 countries that dared to recognize a Palestinian state in the biblical and ancient ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. We're going to talk about the U.S.'s response to this move by Israel in just 1 second, but first, I wanted to tell you about our friends at Magen David Adom. You may have heard of Magen David Adom, which is Israel's emergency medical system. They respond to every terror attack, heart attack, and car accident. They dispatch every ambulance in the nation and receive thousands of emergency calls every single day. Magen David Adom also collects, processes, and distributes the nation's blood supply for civilians and the IDF. Since October 7th, they have lost 36 of their people, and 17 ambulances were destroyed or disabled by the Hamas terrorists that came over the border. They have saved thousands of lives during the war and do so every single day. Every time you see a rocket attack, a drone attack, missile, mortar shooting, stabbing attack, they are there saving lives, and they need your help to do it. What you might not know is that Magen David Adom is almost entirely funded by insurance reimbursements and by donors. 90% of their 35,000 EMTs, paramedics, and first responders are volunteers. They need more ambulances, bandages, medical supplies, blood, and so much more as they are stretched thin responding to attacks from Hamas in the south and Hezbollah in the north and every other daily emergency in the nation, including daily acts of terrorism. Every single dollar matters. Please consider giving to Magen David Adom today to save lives in Israel. Click the link in the description below to donate today. So, what was the U.S.'s response to this move by Israel? U.S. State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel spoke to reporters in Washington on Tuesday. He said, quote, "Unilateral actions like settlement expansion and legalization of outposts are detrimental to a two-state solution." And he uses these terms like this is the worst kind of evil ever, and they're detrimental to a two-state solution. Guys, let me just tell you, a two-state solution does not at all reflect the reality of what's on the ground here in Judea and Samaria, what they would call the West Bank, what they're trying to push for. This is not at all would work, and it's not at all healthy. It would be suicidal for Israel should a two-state solution actually happen on the ground, which is very unlikely and would take an incredible amount of shifting and work to actually put that in place. Patel went on and said, "So we'll continue to use the tools at our disposal to expose and promote accountability for those who threaten peace and stability in the region." Settlement expansion is what he calls it, saying that they're going to expose and promote accountability to those who threaten peace and stability in the region. Basically saying, Israel, you are threatening peace and stability, and we're going to hold you accountable. I'm not sure exactly what tools they have at their disposal to expose and promote accountability for Israel, but directly threatening Israel, saying that you are threatening peace and stability in the region, which is completely preposterous and doesn't at all reflect what's actually happening here. Jewish settlement in Judea and Samaria does not disrupt peace and stability in the Middle East. Patel went on, "We view the expansion of settlements as, in the outpost, as inconsistent with international law. And again, we view these as something that only serves to weaken Israel's security." Inconsistent with international law, yes, that's the view the Biden administration has taken against the settlements. And there's been many scholars around the world that have taken that view, that settlements are illegal according to international law. But the thing is, there are other scholars that are just as well-versed in international law and even more well-versed that make the claim and make the argument that settlements are indeed perfectly legal. Settlements in Judea and Samaria are perfectly legal inside of Judea and Samaria. They're not inconsistent with international law. And Patel is completely wrong when he says that this only weakens Israel's security. It does not at all weaken Israel's security. It only strengthens the nation of Israel and strengthens their fight against this radical jihadist reality that is pushing them from all sides, from these Palestinian Arab terrorists that are attacking Israel. Not at all reflecting what is happening. The good thing is Patel did recognize the release of the tax funds withheld by MK Bezalel Smotrich, but he went even further. He recognized that they did it, but he said it wasn't enough. We, of course, welcome reports that Israel will extend the correspondent banking relationship for 4 months and release a portion of the PA's clearance revenues. But our call is for Israel to extend correspondent banking for at least 12 months and to release the rest of the withheld clearance revenues as well. So saying, Israel, yeah, okay, it's good that you release these funds and extended the correspondent banking between Israeli and Palestinian banks, but no, you need to release all the tax funds to the Palestinian Authority, which the Biden administration knows full well, and there's been plenty of documentation from the Biden administration about it, that these funds will go to paying the salaries of terrorists. They will not go to helping the poor Palestinians who are being oppressed by the Palestinian Authority. They will go to paying the salaries of terrorists who murder Jews. And that's frankly very, very sad that the administration of the United States is now pushing for Israel to release these funds, which the finance minister of Israel has every right to, under this circumstance, withhold these funds because they're being used to pay terrorists who are killing Jews in the Palestinian Authority. It seems like a very logical step to make for the finance minister. But good news is that these Israeli settlements here in the area are being legalized and will now be viewed as more Jewish life and Jewish building in Judea and Samaria. Now, one of the towns that was legalized in Samaria here is the town of Evyatar, which is about 20 minutes from where I'm located right now. And I want to talk a little bit about this town for just a second, because it's very fascinating and just it's a little more personal for me because I was involved in several of the steps along the way that this town, or I was there to witness this town actually being birthed and being built. So the town was begun about 11 years ago, right after a terror attack left a Jewish man, Evyatar Borovsky, dead at the Tapuach Junction. He was killed by a Palestinian terrorist, and Jews went up to Evyatar and said, we're going to build a new community in response to this death that the Palestinians inflicted on one of our numbers. The Palestinians want to kill. We want to bring life to the area. They established Evyatar. The town was quickly evacuated by Israel's military. And just 3 years ago, the Jews returned, these Jewish residents returned to Evyatar to rebuild it after Yehuda Gowetza was murdered by Palestinian terrorists at the same junction, at Tapuach Junction. And actually, we covered this story very extensively. We went to Evyatar and talked about we covered the attack by the Palestinian. We followed his trail. If you want to watch that video, it's a very fascinating video. The link is down in the description below. But documenting these Jews that went up and said, we want to bring life to the land of Israel and reestablish Evyatar. The town was again evacuated by the Israeli government due to bureaucracy and pressure from the Biden administration, among other international pressures, pressuring them to evacuate the Jews from there. So again, a year ago, and the sad thing about this is that the Jewish settlement generally only comes after Jews are killed by Palestinians. A year ago, there was a fatal shooting at a gas station near the Jewish town of Eli that left 4 Israelis dead. Very, very terrible and tragic terrorist attack. And again, the Jewish residents say, we're going back to Evyatar. We're going to establish this once again. They went back to Evyatar, and they have remained there ever since, but it's been kind of this hanging in the balance. Will we be evacuated again? Will the military come in and destroy the town? And so the beautiful part about this is after all that Evyatar has been through just now, they have been recognized by the Israeli government as a legal settlement. This town was built on Israeli state land. They're there, legalized by the government, and now they're completely legal in the eyes of Israeli law. Now, the head of Samaria Regional Council, Yossi Dagan, spoke to Israeli National News, and I want to read some of what he said because I just thought it was super powerful and impactful, really illustrating what the goal and what this means. New life, new houses, new Jewish life being built up in the land of Israel, what this reflects and how it actually strengthens the nation, contrary to what Patel, U.S. Secretary of State Deputy Spokesman, claims. It actually strengthens the nation of Israel. Yossi Dagan, head of the Samaria Regional Council, he's the governor of Samaria here. He said, quote, Evyatar is a symbol. It's a fact on the ground. All we have to talk about now is how many people will live here. These decisions also give the government the strength to bring back the hostages following a victory, because in the end, when we connect our roots and our home, we gain power. I thought that was just super powerful that he's saying these decisions to legalize new settlements in Judea and Samaria, new Jewish settlements, give the government strength to do what they need to do in other areas, giving the IDF strength to fight in Gaza. When we connect to our roots, to the home of the Jewish people, to the land, we bring back Jewish life there. That gives us the strength to continue to defend ourselves and fight for freedom in the land of Israel. It is, he goes on, it says, it is obvious that this war is a strategic and direct outcome of the Oslo Accords and the disengagement of communities in Gaza and northern Samaria. What is happening in the north is a direct result of our withdrawal from Lebanon. It's our defeatist attitude of running away. On the other hand, we have proven that we can do it another way. When we connect to our land, to our roots, to Zionism, when we have national self-pride, we also enjoy military strength and victory. Evyatar is not another village and not another hiking site. Evyatar is our message to the world and to ourselves that the land of Israel belongs to us. We are building it and we are here to stay. Am Yisrael Chai. Powerful statement by Yossi Dagan, the governor of Samaria, and saying that the Evyatar is a message, and these communities that were just legalized by the Israeli government are a message to the world and to the nation of Israel. And I want to read this last part again. Evyatar is a message to the world and to ourselves, to the nation of Israel, that the land of Israel belongs to the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel is building it, and we are here to stay. Am Yisrael Chai. Guys, and I want to encourage you, if you support Israel's right to build and to live in their ancestral homeland, to stay in the land of Israel, then let's just flood the comments with Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live, and we can say that as supporters of Israel. We encourage Jews to come and live and build in the nation of Israel, in their ancestral homeland. And guys, that's some good news for you today from the land of Israel. Thanks for watching today. Don't forget to check out Magen David Adom and to give support to Israel's emergency medical personnel. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel. See this epic tumbler? Well, you can turn this from an epic tumbler sitting on my desk to an epic tumbler sitting on your desk, all the while supporting the biblical heartland of Israel. This is our biblical heartland tumbler. It's not only a great thermal tumbler, but it's a perfect way to show your support for Judea and Samaria. The world insists on incorrectly labeling it the West Bank, but it's actually the biblical heartland of Israel. The thermal insulated vacuum sealed walls will keep your coffee hot up to 10 hours, or your hot drink if you don't drink coffee. I've tried it and it actually works. I used it many times on the road, way better than what you would actually expect, and way better than any other tumbler I have used. The laser engraved design is the touch that puts this tumbler over the top. Guys, look at that silver design right there. And the Biblical Heartland tumbler is actually a staff favorite here at the Israel Guys office. Go into any one of the offices, they got a tumbler sitting on their desk. Go to theisraelguys.com. Scratch that. Go to the Israel Guys. Go to the israelguys.store or click the link in the description below. You can use the promo code Josiah, my name, promo code Josiah to get 10% off your order. Click the link down in the description below. Am Yisrael Chai.